So Netivot Shalom, Sefer Shemot, and the Parashat is Mishpatim. So בשעה שהקדימו נעשה לנשמע, right? So first, Bnei Israel said, we'll do it, even without knowing what they're going to do. ויקח ספר הברית, and he took the book of the covenant, ויקרא באוזני העם, ואמרו כל אשר דיבר השם נעשה לנשמע, right? So Moshe took the book, the covenant book, and he was reading, and the people said, yeah, we will do it, and then we will hear. So ויקח משה את הדם, and Moshe took the blood, ויזרוק אל העם, right? And he throw it or splash or sprinkle on the people, and he say, this is the blood of the covenant, that Hashem had the covenant with you, with all these things that, right? כל הדברים האלה, all of these things. היינו, it means, גם על אומרם, even also on what they said, כל אשר דיבר השם נעשה ונשמע. Everything that Hashem is telling us, we will do, and then we will hear, then we will understand what was going on. And he said that the כריתת הברית, the covenant, was not only upon the thing that were written in the book of the covenant, also what they were saying before even Moshe reading the book, they just said, Naseh, we will do it first. So the doing it, the agreement for doing it was prior to, let's hear what they have to say. שבזה זכו שהייתה כריתת ברית בין, because of that they had the merit to have the covenant between Hashem and us. And it's appropriate to explain why the prior to, right, הקדימו נעשה לנשמע. First you need to hear what I want from you. Then you can decide whether if you want to do it or not. But they did the opposite, right? So our sages explained that was a very high level, that they were elevated during the receiving of the Torah. And it says in Masechet Shabbat, in the time that they were ekedimu, right, they made it first, Naseh Nishma, when they just said, okay, don't bother me with the detail, we're doing it, we're signing the contract. So Shishim Ribo, right, 600,000 angels came to each and every one from Israel, and they tied crowns, 2 crowns, one for the Naaseh and one for the Nishma. And also it says that when they Ikidimu Israel Naaseh Nishma, there was a voice coming from heaven, and the voice was like, was asking, who revealed that secret to my sons? Because the angel, the serpent are using it. They are actually doing their task or whatever, even before hearing what is it all about. And also they said, when they said, בשעה שהקידימו לפניך נעשה לנשמע, you called them, בני בחורי ישראל, Hashem was calling us, firstborn Israel, because we said, yeah, we will do it. In Rashi it says that it was revealed in front of you, Hashem, that in the future they're going to say in Sinai desert, נעשה ונשמע, in order to accept upon themselves the burden of the Torah, but from love, like sons. Right? When a father is asking us to do something, we're doing it because we love our father, so we're doing it. Maybe it's a burden, right? The father can ask something which is not easy to do, but still we're doing it from love. He said, and because of that, they already had that merit, or they gained when they were already in Egypt. Hashem called them my firstborn Israel for the future, that in the future we're going to say that, right? Even if Hashem knows, because Hashem knows everything, right? It's a concept that we cannot understand. How is it possible? Hashem is past, present, and future. We barely living the present. We always have our imagination running into the future, and we're living also in the past. But we don't see like what's going on. Hashem see everything. So Hashem knew that we're going to say that. So that's why we had that merit already in Egypt. And what's going on from all of it? שהקדמת נעשה לנשמע, that prior to here, we agree that we're going to do, that's the highest level. That the Matan Torah, receiving of the Torah, was like in force. Because Hashem, right, it says that Hashem took like the mountain and said, you're getting the Torah from me, or you're going to die here. I'm going to throw the mountain at you. Right? We say in Israel, kfiyat datit, like a religious force that you're forcing on someone. Right? So So what's going on here? But he said, but their special level was that they said first, they will do it. But that was from their own will. And because of that, they gain all the advantages, all the ma'alot. That we had the angel coming from heaven, and they tied the crown, right? And according to that, we can say what it says in the book Ma'or Einaim. Some people say Ma'or 9, Ma'or Einaim, right? The light of the eyes in Yitro. When they says Ekdimu Naser Nishma, said a person sometimes have different times, time of elevation and time of the opposite, going down, right? In Sefer Yechezkel it says V'achayot Ratzo Vashov, right? The whole world working on this concept of Ratzo Vashov. So it's like doing something, running in action, and then returning, reverting, breathing in, breathing out, awake and asleep, right? And this is the order of the creation. That always we have ups and we have downs. After going uphill, you have downhill, and then going uphill again. And what's the reason? It's a very high or very high level, right? And it's from the secret from the Torah. And we should also be, at the time of Chas v'Chalila, of going downhill, we should be cleaving to Hashem, sticking to Hashem, right? ויהודי צריך גם בזמן ירידה להיות דבוק בהשם. And that's the main thing of receiving the Torah, that we always should be cleaving to Hashem, dvukim b'Hashem, even when we're going down. And this is what we said, Ekdimu Naser Nishma. We will do it even if we're not going to hear the detail, even if we don't understand why we should do it, right? Of course, you need to understand the detail of the halachot and everything, but again, we just agree that we're going to do it. It means that in a lower time, we're going to cleave to Hashem. And only after that, we have that level of nishma here, through the ears, which is the higher level of cleaving to Hashem. And this is our gadlut, advantage, that Hashem was actually like bragging about us, that we said, Naseh nishma, right? And we achieved that through the truth, that for always we will be cleaving to Hashem, even in time of darkness. And according to that, it's explained in Sefer Dvarim, right? We're saying it every time we're taking out the Torah, we say without even thinking, I think, ואתם הדבקים בהשם אלוקיכם, חיים כולכם היום. Right? You're the one that's cleaving to Hashem, your God, you are living today. And this is the Shem Havaya, Yud Ke Vav Ke, which is it's a concept of revelation. And the name of Elokim, it's a name of judgment and tzimtzum. Right? So אתם הדבקים בהשם אלוקיכם, like one name is revelation, one name is the opposite. We are all living today, which means that we are cleaving to Hashem, even when we are cleaving to Hashem in the attributes of Shefa and attribute of revelation, and even when we are cleaving to Hashem in the attribute of judgment. We're always cleaving to Hashem, it means that we're always alive. And the explanation that there are two types of cleaving to Hashem. There is a cleaving to Hashem, right? Very good from Gadlut. From Gadlut is very difficult for me to explain it in English. It's like from elevation. Gadlut is elevation, when we are inspired. When we are inspired, it's very easy, and we are cleaving to Hashem, and this is a type of a level or an attribute, because we actually feel, we see how Hashem is so great, and we have that pleasure and enjoyment, right? Our heart is expanding. And there is another way of cleaving to Hashem from when we are not inspired, when we are going downhill, when we are in a lower situation, and we're acknowledging where we are. We are in the garbage bin, swimming at the bottom of the garbage bin, in the juices of the garbage, very low level. Then we are like nullifying ourselves to Hashem, which means, Hashem, I have nothing, I'm nothing. Look where I am, I'm all yours. That's another cleaving, but it's coming from katnut, from being little. And that's the purpose of the Kabbalat Torah, that we should always cleave to Hashem. It doesn't matter if we're in the darkness or if we're in the light. And that's why when we said Naaseh Nishma, shooting us up to a very high level. And for that, Hashem called us Beni Bechori, firstborn. And then he said, but who revealed you that secret? Right? And the meaning is that secret that the serpent, the angel are using it. Because the angel are always cleaving to Hashem, even though they don't have a free will, etc. Right? And for them, there is no difference between darkness and light. They always nullify themselves. They're always cleaving to Hashem, always doing Hashem will. And they have no ego, no identity. And that's why Hashem was like asking, the voice coming from the heaven saying, okay, who revealed you that secret? Wow. You went straight to the point. And according to that, we also say in the Ma'amar, Maran Admor Bal Bet Avraham Zechutto Yagal Elenu, on the Pasuk, Moshe Nigash El Arafel, right? That Moshe was approaching or went into the Arafel, to the smoke or fog, when Hashem is there. So there are 3 levels of darkness, and each one is like a higher, but in a negative way. Choshech, Anan, VaArafel. Choshech is just darkness. You can still see something. Anan, it's like a cloud, and the Arafel, the smoke, is actually the most thickness, darkness that really you don't see anything. And Moshe actually went specifically into the Arafel, into that fog that is very thick, that Hashem is there. And that comes to teach us that even in that fog that we don't see anything, there's a thickness, darkness, Hashem is there. Right? And according to that, we should say, Asher Shama Elokim, which means, again, the judgment, the tzimtzum, right? And the slavery or the enslavery, but that we have in that revelation. And that's in the context of Avaya, which means even when it's so darkness and we're looking like we're so narrow-minded, narrow-seen, still Hashem is there with us. And that's why Moshe went into that fog, that Hashem is there. And that's the slavery of this is how we should serve Hashem. Even when it is so narrow for us, yeah, not Hashem. We are in a narrow-minded, we are like in a stress inside that fog. We should still be cleaving to Hashem. And according to that, we can say that the main thing of receiving the Torah, Sheikar Kabbalat Torah, it's the cleaving, the constant cleaving to Hashem Yitbarach, no matter what. And it will be explained in Masechet Shabbat when they said, right, the Kulam, everybody's saying that the Torah was given to us on Shabbat, right? B'Shabbat Nitra Torah L'Israel. And this is also the main essence or the main mitzvah of Shabbat, again, to cleave to Hashem. As it says, right, Beni u'Bnei Israel, Oti Le'olam, that's the sign, that's the mark between Hashem and us, for infinite. That the day itself of Shabbat, when we're keeping Shabbat, that's the day that we're cleaving to Hashem. It's all manifesting. You go to shul, you eat, you do kiddush, everything is the cleaving to Hashem. We don't think about it, but that's what we're doing. And that's the purpose of the Torah, that we'll be cleaving to Hashem. And furthermore, we can say, הקדימו נעשה לנשמה, דהנה יש מדרגה מיוחדת, like a significant level, a special level. Besides keeping the mitzvah, right, that the Jew is do Hashem's will. Besides keeping the mitzvah, it's mean, okay, fine, we have the mitzvah, we have the list, this is the technical thing, we do this, we don't do the other things. But also there is another level, that שיהודי עושה רצון השם יתברך, אף בדברים שאין עליהם ציווי מפורש. Think that we don't have a specific commandment, we're still doing it. Even though they are not written as part of the mitzvah, but there is a Hashem will that we would like to do it. We should, or we shouldn't, right? As it says in the Sefer, in Yesod HaAvodah, right, in Vayikra. So I think that come after Aaron lost his 2 sons, right? Nadav and Avihu, they died. So he was Avel. And Moshe was upset because he said, okay, so Aaron answered, right, V'achalti chatat hayom, hayta b'nei Hashem, like I was eating it. Was it good in the eyes of Hashem? Like Aaron said, I did what Hashem was pleased with. V'yishma Moshe v'ita b'nav. So Moshe heard that answer and said, oh, yeah, that was a good answer. So Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, he heard from Aaron like a new path in Avodat Hashem. That he didn't say, I did like it was commanded, I did like the halacha. No. I did what was Hashem was happy with that I did it. That Hashem was pleased with what I did. And then Moshe heard that and it was good in his eyes. because he heard like a new path of Ayitav B'nei Hashem. It's good or not, right? And many times we can ask ourselves, the will Hashem will be happy if I do that, or if I will not do that, and we know the answer. He said anything that the Jew is about to do, you need to observe if Hashem will be happy with that. If Hashem metaphorically will be pleased from that action. And this is what we found, what our Chazal said in Masechet Yuma. Right? Kiyem Avraham Avinu, that Avraham Avinu was fulfilling the entire Torah, Kiyem et kol Torah, even before it was given to us. And the question was, right, classic question, how is it possible? If the Torah was given to us few hundred years after, how Abraham knew what he needs to do? But he says, no, it's not that Abraham had the Torah and all the rules and everything, but Abraham was seeking to do only Hashem's will. And his soul learned what was Hashem's will, what he should do, what he shouldn't do. And by doing that, he fulfilled the entire Torah. Because that's the main thing. If Hashem will be happy with what we're doing or not. And that's the inyan, Ma she'ikdimu Yisrael na'aseh le'nishma, which means, let's do Hashem's will. Before even we will hear what we need to do, the halachot, etc., we'll do what Hashem would want us to do. We will please Him. Before we know the tzivuim, and also in the things that are not included in the nishma. Right? Some things are not included in the written Torah or even in the Gemara. And we will always do Hashem will in all our deeds. We will always weigh pros and cons, what Hashem will be happy with. And this is something that we can achieve and know by ourselves. Mibchinat, like the soul of a person will teach it. Right? Usually it's like it's a trick that let's say on the simple level that you want to buy something or you want to decide about something. Usually the first thought, that's the real one. Then you start with all this assumption and calculation and assessment, whatever, and you get confused. But usually our soul are giving us like the first answer. And that's the purpose, right, of the Kabbalat Torah. That because of that, Hashem called us Beni Bechori. And that's the highest level. Because, right, we said we're going to do what Hashem will be happy with. That's the main thing. And that's why it says, I will carry you on the wings of eagles, right? And we had that merit because prior to the Torah, we said, we're going to do it, that's it. And that's like in the context or the aspect, or that's the level of a son, that all he wants to do is to please his father. And we want to please our Father in heaven. And for that, Hashem was like asking, who revealed that secret to my son, because the angel are using it. And all the being of the angel is to do Hashem will. Right, as we said in the Tfilat in Ribon Kol Amrim in the Leil Shabbat Kodesh, Malachecha Kedoshim V'Atorim, your holy angel and your pure angel that do your will. And this is the main thing. That even if we don't know halachot, even if we didn't learn, we just need to ask Hashem will be happy or not with what we're doing. Thank you for listening.
The summary.